Hello and welcome to another episode of Stand Up World. Thanks for dropping in, tuning in, joining in, uh, just being in, whatever, for being here, listening, watching. Say hello to Patrick Arnold, our
Hey, Mike.
producer. And again, it's all good. Everything's doing well. And how you been, Patrick? Everything good with you?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah, been busy. How about you? How's LA?
LA's great. LA's great. We've been having some great shows Monday nights at the Laugh Factory. It's been so much fun with Arsenio and Howie Mandel and Dane Cook and just Tony Rock was great last night. Jimmy Shin. We've just been having fun and playing the Ice House. And I was out in Brea with Attell, which was so much fun. We've just been having such a good time. It's really great, and
That's
I can't.
great. The shows look great. Those
Yeah,
look
they look great. They look great, and I'm having fun. That's all there is to it.
all that matters.
And I love we're having Frank Castillo on tonight because Frank, he was great in the documentary, and we saw him get passed. We saw him become a regular, and he's just gone on to do such great things. And next Saturday, he's got his own show, Netflix show at the Hotel Cafe and on the second stage. And I'm just so happy for this guy. He was really great in my son Bert's movie, Halfway to Amarillo, and he's just a talented guy. So I'm really excited that he's here and for people to get to talk to him. And like I say, it's 1 in the afternoon. He's probably going to be buzzed because he's Frankie. But I love this guy. Let's bring him on, okay?
Let's do it.
Frank Castillo. Frank Castillo. How are you, buddy?
Fantastic. How you doing, Binder?
It's so good to see you, man. I'm so happy you're doing so well. You're just such a funny dude, and you're such a great guy. I'm always so happy when I see you pop up and all the great shows you're doing, and I always know, God, he's doing good, and he's just stoned as hell on
Oh,
top of
absolutely.
he's like Cheech and Chong as one guy. It's just perfect.
Yeah, I don't mind being a little bit of the stoner. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I know you. I know you're the best. So, but you are doing great.
Yeah, I try. It's I mean, I try not, I mean, most of the time that you guys do see me stoned, it's because I'm just relaxing and having fun. But I have to do like serious stuff. I try not to be stoned and really take a good swing at things. It was funny. My manager once, I had to do like a theater for somebody, so I didn't smoke at all the whole day, and then I did the shows and then smoked afterwards. My manager was like, "Hey, you ever think about like not smoking like more often?" That was like pretty cool, you know? You ever think about doing that? And I was like, yeah, I can chill, dude. Like, it's like, it's not, it was very fun.
No. Listen, man. I was totally teasing you. I've never seen you. I've never seen you perform in any way that I thought, oh man, he's stoned. The only time I've ever seen you feel or look stoned was like afterwards in the kitchen or somewhere.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Next to the
Yeah, yeah.
pizzas and stuff, and you're like,
I
oh,
just,
Frank is
I
very
just,
stoned.
yeah, like when you bring someone brings out like a stack of pizzas and you take 3 pies and just go off by yourself. Then I
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
oh, Frank's
yeah, yeah.
really hot. But
Yeah, it feels good to be a part of the like stoner part of Sacred Ground and not like the cocaine part. Because I always think because
yeah,
I'll walk past people and I'll just be like, oh yeah, you guys are having way too much fun, or how it used
yeah,
to be back in the day.
yeah. Hey, but I was talking more about just some of the shows you're doing. I mean, like
Mhm.
I love that. I love you're doing a Netflix show uh, next Saturday night at Hotel. What's it called again? Hotel Cafe.
The Hotel Cafe second stage. I'm gonna be doing I'm doing 45 minutes. It's gonna be as part of the Netflix is a joke festival. It's gonna be me, Chris Riggins, Zach Champloni, Nick Cole Buchanan, and then Ryan Goodcase. They're all going to be on the lineup with me, so I'm very excited. I'm gonna just been working at the store, just putting together 15-minute sets. You know what it's like, and
Yeah.
it's always like nerve wracking because like after you become a paid regular, it doesn't like solve your bills and stuff. You still got to do like the rest of the hard part of like making a career. So I've just been doing sets and then stacking these sets as I write them. So now it's like, oh, I have a bunch of jokes and I have 45 minutes. So it feels good to be able to show people what I've been putting together.
And yeah, man, you're also I saw you did like a kind of a special for, was it 800-pound gorilla?
Oh yeah, I did my album, Lupe. I did and then 800 pound gorilla. They did Eliza Schlesinger's Locals.
Oh,
So I
that's
got
right. That's
yeah,
right.
I got to do like eight
Locals.
minutes
Yeah,
on that. So that was pretty fun.
that was great.
Um, yeah, that was a blast.
To me, I always, and I love, and for those who are listening, the other thing is Frank's also a really funny character actor. He had
Oh
a
yeah.
part in my son Bert's movie, and everything he did was just so right on. We like used every line you just made up. Even it was just you play. You're just such a natural. That's what I loved about you. You just to me, you'd be such a good comic actor in like a series or sitcom or something.
Yeah, I've to this year especially have been really lucky and I've been able to audition for a lot of sitcoms and it's been, that's always been like, I don't know. It's always like, I don't like brag or like tell people that I like doing acting stuff. 'Cause I always feel like it's always like lame among comedians, especially when you're like trying to come up, you're just like, oh, I also do like acting stuff. And they're just like, look at this guy trying. But yeah, I love doing stuff like that. I love being goofy. I love just having fun. And, yeah, it's always just like,
I don't think it's bragging to say you like comic acting. I mean, it'd be one thing if you're a comedian and go, I also do proctology. I'm
yeah.
also an eye doctor. But
Yeah,
for a comedian to go, hey, I also am a comic actor.
yeah.
To me, that's kind of part and parcel, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think like being a comedian and having like the ability to act or having those chops are always like cool. But I remember there was always like a stigma doing stand up and starting out being like, "Oh, you're an actor that wants to do stand up." So I was always
That's
like, I'm
yeah.
a stand up, I'm a stand up, I'm a stand up. I'd like to delve into acting, but only cuz it's like I respect that stuff so much. Like I have so many favorite actors, so many favorite directors. Like I'm a very big movie guy. Like I love Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Dude, all of his movies are so good.
But it was nice for me to see. It was nice to be on the set of that movie and to see that you just, yeah, oh yeah, he's an actor. He's got it.
yeah, yeah,
He knows how to take what he does on the stage and just do it on a set. That
yeah.
was nice.
I don't tell a lot about. I used to do theater in high school, and then I in college I did some
Oh,
theater
so you're
plays.
gay. So you're
Yeah,
gay. Okay. Okay. Let's break it down. Let's break it down. You're gay, and you sing. You did music.
yeah.
You didn't do theater. You were in
I
musicals. Come on.
wish I could do musicals. If I could, I tap danced a little, but if I could sing, I would totally do it. But no, I can't.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And and are you working out at the store a lot nowadays? Or
Yeah, I'm lucky. Emily takes care of me. She gives me usually like one or two spots a week, and then I sign up for fallouts, and then I'm in the rotation around Los Angeles on a few shows. So I'm lucky. I could get up like 3 to 4 times a week if I'm lucky. If like everything teams up right. Sometimes I get up like 6 times in a week, and it's real nice. But I'm also
that's
still trying to make my trips out to like Austin and New York and stay for like a week and do a bunch of spots. So I'm trying to like, what I mean. It's just the journey, right? It's the fun
yeah.
part.
And you're married, and do you have a baby? You have a baby, don't you?
No, 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 no. My wife has a career and she loves it a lot. She she works in rehab. She's a director, and then she
Oh,
also has her private practice. She does therapy and stuff.
oh.
Um,
So hey, when you hit bottom, you just got to
oh,
go home.
oh my God! I mean,
It's
we
great.
we talked about it so many times. She was like, I could totally be a therapist for like comedians and people in the industry, but also just like, yeah, we've had so many conversations where I'm just like,
You know,
this is it.
I can be a therapist for comedians, people in the industry, and you,
And
Frank.
yeah, absolutely. She's helped me so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm 39 years sober, so I know a lot of those people that in that rehab world, and a lot of I've dealt with a lot of those therapists, and they really help out a lot.
Yeah.
They're really
Yeah.
they've helped me out a lot, and they've helped a lot of people I know out a lot, and I've given a lot of them your name and number anyway. So
Yeah.
I didn't even know your wife. No, I'm teasing. But
Yeah.
I was, man, let me tell you something, Frank. Until I got sober, I was such a stoner. I was stoned morning, noon, and night. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then one day, it was enough.
Yeah. I think, I think I know when that day is going to come. And I think it's definitely going to be like when I have kids. Because I think, my wife's sister, they have a new nephew. He's like my new nephew. He's a baby. He's less than a year now. And we look at him and I'm just like, oh, yeah, I definitely want this. Little when I'm more stable, and then I'll definitely not that I won't have as much fun, but I'm going to be like, I don't know, like in a serious adult, Because my
Yeah.
dad was a party animal now. He's still a party animal. So it's like, I definitely want to be like that dad who's like, responsible. I know it's so weird to be like, I want to be a responsible dad as I'm like wearing tie-dye fucking pants at
No, I
1:30 in
get
the
it. You're
afternoon.
absolutely right. That changes everything, man. And,
Hmm.
and I think that might have been for me, man. But I was just such a stoner, and I thought everything was a joke, man. I would just go into 7-Eleven and just look at the guy and go 18, 18, it's 18, right? Is that the secret? You go, dude, you have to leave the store. It's 18. I figured it out. What do I win? You have to leave, sir.
How old were you when you were working at the store?
17, 18, I think I
Wow.
started right around
That
there.
so you grew up at that. Isn't that crazy to think that we grew up at a place that's so iconic? Like my 23 to 20, like my 23 to 35, I grew up at this club. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. I listen, man. But for people who don't know, I remember I was there this night that the booker passed you as a regular, and
Yeah, you were standing there.
you were so emotional. I was standing there, and you got you. I love. First of all, your set was amazing because I was there. I saw it,
Mhm.
and he told me, he goes, I'm gonna make this guy a regular." And then he said, I followed him out, and he told you, and you. I loved how real it was, and I was just like, I gotta put this in the documentary.
Yeah.
And because I think we filmed your set, but we
Yeah.
didn't have that part. So I said, "Hey, we got to do this again." This was so great. I go, "Hold on, I got to get the guys with the cameras, and we got to do it again." And you were like, "No, I can't. I'm not an actor." I go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're doing it again." And we went and got the. This is what happened. I don't know if you remember this, but I said to you, "We got to do it again." And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
both you and Adam Egan said, "We're not actors. We're not actors. We can't do it." I go, "Yeah, you can. Just don't worry about it." And we recreated the moment completely.
Yeah.
And you were great. You were
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
I cried. If the cameras were rolling with the original moment, it would have been. I mean, not that it didn't take away from what we recreated, but like that original moment, like I fucking cried
Yeah, but
because like,
you came off like such a little faggot. This one, this one
but it was
was
like A-
better.
Adam hired me in the place, or no, he passed me in the same spot that he hired me as a door guy. So it
Yeah.
was like super full circle.
No, I know.
And then,
I know.
yeah, and then like I cried, I hugged him, and then you guys were like, you're like, you can't tell anyone till tomorrow. So I'm like bawling my eyes out at the store, and everyone like I have to leave because everyone's like, why is Frank crying right now? You know what I mean? So I was just like, I gotta go. And then like I remember just leaving and like I remember I called my mom, I called my dad, I called my
Well,
wife.
that was what I
Like,
loved, what you did.
yeah,
And then you did it. Then I go on camera, I go, I go, how do you feel? He goes, I just got to go call my dad. And it was just, and people love that in the documentary, you
Yeah.
know?
I was gonna say we were talking about it before you hopped on, Frank, and I thought like it was shocking to hear that you was a recreation because
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
so organic. Like it
yeah,
was genuinely so organic, and it was such
yeah,
a cool
yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah. But no, I did. I called my dad. I called like everybody, and my dad is very like. I'm very lucky that my dad's a big comedy fan, so he kind of knew what it meant, and he'd been there since like he'd been around since like when I was coming to the open mics and then trying to get in at the store. So he watched me like not get my name up on the list, and then he saw me get my name up on the list, and then he saw me get the job, and then like win roast battle, and then like meet Rogan, and like all this like cool stuff. So we got to watch like each and every one of those moments, and yeah, so it was just like a really like when he got that call, it was like it was a big deal for him too. And we
Yeah,
have the same
I met
name.
your dad. I met your
Yeah,
dad. He was
we have
at
the
the
same
store.
name too. So we have our both of our names are on the store wall.
Yeah, that's great. You know, and the thing about it is, I love it, and I loved your journey, and you know, it was different for me because when we were doormen, we were all regulars. You know, Mitzi,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
for me, Mitzi made me a regular the first night I ever played the Comedy Store. I didn't. It was just a different time. You know,
yeah.
it was, oh, you're funny, you can be a regular and work here. You know, and you know, all we were all regulars, and we all got spots, and we all got any, if there was a fallout, we just jumped up, you know, and you know, I mean, I was jumping up. I was get between my own spots and jumping up. I was up almost every night of the week, you
Yeah.
know, and it was just a different time. And when I got back years later to do that documentary, hearing about people waiting 7, 8, 10 years to be a regular, it didn't that didn't make sense to me. But then I understood it, and I was talking to you outside the place one night, and you were kind of explaining it to me about how many people and how long it took, and I realized it had become much more of like a college
Hmm.
kind of thing, you know, where you just people just it had become much more institutionalized, I think, you know, whereas
Yeah.
when Mitzi was just there and running it and running the store and closing it up and locking it up. And it just wasn't such a formal thing. She just said, okay, all right, you're good, yeah, you know. But I think and then when she gave someone else the job to do it, like a booker, they made it more of a hurdle because they knew that they had to kind of think, what would Mitzi want? What's right for the club? And
Yeah.
she didn't have to double think it, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, it's weird how like not her throwaway lines, but like it's weird how like these small things that Mitzi was doing just to do because she had to run the club would later become these pillars of comedy and the foundation of like how the store runs and the college system that is the comedy store and how like even at the open mic when it comes to like being a freshman in a sense and then being passed on as a door guy and becoming like a sophomore and like working there 4 or 5, 6 years and becoming a junior in a sense, and then like featuring for people and then starting to showcase as a paid regular, and then thus being passed and becoming a senior slash moving on to an alumni where you are now a paid regular, and then even then you're going through like the battle that is late night spots, midnight spots, and then having to do opening spots on like early shows and late shows and all this stuff and really learning the position of being a comic in like an opening spot, a hosting spot, like a 10:30, like a sweet spot, and then a 1 a.m. closing comedian. And it really is crazy how like her building a artist calling in a sense. It's like we all learn from each other, like the comics, and then also the people running the club, and you know figuring out how to make this institution an institution and run and progress or leaving it to future generations of comics and as they go through the system.
That's right. And I don't think it's any different than any other kind of thing,
Hmm.
you know, cooking schools or
No, not
acting
at all. Yeah.
schools or race, the getting into the race car drivers world. It's just an apprenticeship world. I personally think that colleges have gotten too mandatory, whereas what you really want to do is go find out what you want. If you love something, go get there and get into that industry and be an apprentice and be a waiter at a fancy restaurant if you want to be a cook or whatever. Just learn the business.
Experience it. That's literally what happened to me. I remember I was like 21. I met Jesus Trejo and a few other comics at the Pachanga Comedy Club, and I remember I
What
eventually
kind of club?
Pachanga Resort and Casino. It's in Temecula. They used to have a comedy club out there. Um, but I remember they were like telling me about the store, and I just was like, "Oh, I don't want to go to college. That seems like forever and a bunch of work." And then they told me about working at the store and working through there, and I was like, 4 to 5 years? Oh, that's easy as fuck. I'll go do that. But it was just like the idea of like going to college was just something I just didn't have in me because I knew that was not my passion. Right, it was following whatever degree or whatever I needed to get. But stand up was like something that I was like, oh, I'll pour my life into. I'll sleep in a car or like a fucking couch,
What what
chasing.
what got you into stand up in the first place?
I think it was always around. It was like my dad was funny. Like everyone in my family were always kind of like performers and storytellers. I loved watching like comedies growing up and movies, a lot of sitcoms. My dad would my dad was a big alcoholic, but like a fun alcoholic. So he'd show me like Insomniac with Dave Attell, like when I was like a teenager, like stuff I shouldn't have like watched. And then I think I was a fan of stand up, but I just never understood that you could do it. And then a friend of mine was like, "I'm going to an open mic," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go with you." And then I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna start doing that." And then I just never stopped. Like I never stopped.
And how old were you the first time you went up on an open mic?
21. First time I ever did stand up
One.
was it was like the day I turned 21
Wow,
because
that's
that's
really cool.
yeah, all the open mics were at bars, so I was like, yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad your dad gets to see it all too.
yeah. I'm very very lucky. Yeah. He's got to see a lot of cool stuff. He's gotten to meet some of his favorite comedians and like wild celebrities, and that's always like just a cool thing to see. Because he's not one of those guys who's like, oh, I got to take a picture with everybody, but like every once in a while he'll see somebody and he'll like beg me. He's like, please, just like, and to see him like get excited, I was like, oh, you don't get excited. This is cool.
Like who? Give me an example.
When he saw David Tell, it was David Tell at the store, and Ross is such a huge, he's a big guy for me. He's always taking care of me, and so when he came, I asked Ross and Dave, and Dave's also just the nicest guy in the world, and he's always been very cool to me. So when I asked them both and how much it meant to my dad, they both were like, absolutely. So there's a picture of Dave, Ross, and my dad, and they're all doing the bumping Mike's fist, and it's just like the smile on his face is just huge. He's just
That's awesome.
loved. Yeah, he's so stoked.
That's really awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that happens to be. If you ask me, my favorite act in comedy, I would say it's bumping mics.
yeah, absolutely.
I love bumping mics. It's like
Oh,
to me that those guys are friends of mine,
yeah.
But I love to watch them together. They're like jazz,
Mhm.
they just I've opened for them. I was actually we were going to do the next season of that thing for Netflix, and for some reason I think it was the COVID. They
Yeah.
canceled because of COVID. We were going to do it in the main room at the store, but I just there's something about those two guys together, and the fact that they don't plan it and they just do it, and it's just they bring out the best of each other.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love
Yeah.
bumping Mike.
It's magical.
Well, I listen, man. I wish I was going to be in LA on next Saturday to come see your show, but I'm not. But I really wanted to have you on and want to talk about it, and we're gonna do what we can on Stand Up World to promote it and get
Thank you
people
so
out
much.
there
Yeah.
for it because
Yeah.
I think you're great, Frank. I really
Thank you.
do. I
I
think
really
you
appreciate you.
always have, and I love how you're just killing it. So
Thank you.
if you're listening, get out there. to the Hotel Cafe, second stage.
Second stage. Tickets are only $20. Super easy. It's gonna be a
20
blast.
bucks, you cheap bastards. Get
I
out there,
know.
Frank.
We're gonna have an after party. We're gonna smoke a bunch of weed. It's gonna be a blast. Come check it out.
And the weed's free, right?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have Kalia, Puffco, Alien Labs come and sponsor my after party. They're just friends that I've made throughout the industry. They're just fans of my comedy, and then when they heard about this, they're like, "Well, we want to do an after party for you." So
You
I'm
know what I
very, very
love about you, Frank? You know what I love about you? I was
excited.
totally teasing about the weed being free, but then I realized, wait a minute, Frank always has weed sponsors.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also, trust me, it's such a weird thing to be so far in my career to be like, oh, I don't have to pay for weed anymore, and like like my dad sitting down once was just like, so you don't have to pay for any of this. I was like, no, and he's like, that's crazy. He's like, that's so
Well,
wild.
think about this, Frank. You don't have to pay for weed, and you don't have to pay for rehab.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
set for life.
That's so funny.
All right, I love you, Frank.
I love you too, Mike.
You're
Thank you
the
so much.
best. Next Saturday night, Hotel Cafe. All right. There's something about that guy I just love. He's great, and he's so funny. He's so funny. If you're around next Saturday night, the Hotel Cafe, second stage, and he's going to do a long show, and he's super talented guy. And that's it.
What do you got coming up in May?
Well, I don't know, not a lot. I'm working on some other aspects of my career.
Other
Need to-
facets.
other facets that need to be taken care of right now. But
Right.
I'm going to be at the Ryman, as a lot of people know. In Nashville with RFK Jr. and a bunch of great comedians and country musicians, and on May 15th, Wednesday night, at the Ryman Auditorium. And I'm also going to be, I'm Monday nights, a lot of Monday nights, I'm at the Laugh Factory, and I'm at the Comedy Store and the Improv, so I'm around. I'm around when I can be. But getting ready to make another movie. So that's taking up a lot of time. It's taking a lot of time. But anyway, really appreciate people listening and joining in, and of course appreciate you, Patrick. You're great.
Back at you, Mike.
You're great. Thanks again. See you next week. We have a good show next week, as usual, but someone I'm really excited about. So thank you so much. Love you.